Welcome back. We're so glad to have you back with the program. And on this portion of the program, I have Andy Alberti and Cles Saunders. And they're going to be talking about moving the county seat from Tonopah to Pahrump and explain why we should do this and what they're doing in the process. They were on the show once before and explained some things, but we have an update. So many other things have happened. So I'm going to ask Andy if he would. Well, first of all, gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we're glad to have you. And I saw something in the paper today, and it talks about referendums filed for 2016 ballot. And I imagine part of the referendum thing is what you're trying to do. Is that correct?
That is correct. And one of the things that we had to address here was exactly how to file the referendum.
Okay.
And there is actually a law that allows us the power to change the county seat at will.
Now, when you say us?
The voters.
Okay.
However, it requires 60% of people who voted in the last election to sign the petition.
60%.
And they also had to be on the assessment rolls as property owners.
Okay.
But the clerk cannot provide that to us.
Why not?
Which is a good question.
Okay.
There has been a history that this occurred once before in Lander County, but they only had 1,700 voters. We're dealing with over 12,000.
Okay.
So we looked at, is there another way to do this? And we have taken an alternate approach. So this referendum that we put together, which only applies to Nye County, is the location of the county seat. It's actually a legislative act, and the law, as we read it, says any legislative act pertaining to your county only, you can file a referendum to either give your approval or disapproval of the act.
Okay, hold your thought right there. Let me get back to the 60%. Okay, first of all, we think that NRS is unconstitutional. Because if we look at the Nevada Constitution, if you do a referendum, it says 10%, not 60%. Okay, plus the fact that, as Andy was saying, you have to be on the voter's roll on the assessor's roll as a taxpayer. Okay, this we feel is taking, hey, a person's voting rights, the one man, one vote voting rights. Okay, if you live in Pahrump, okay, and you rent, you don't get a chance to vote on something that's pertinent to you?
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So this is why we think and why we're going an alternate route, because 60% is unconstitutional, period.
But when you say unconstitutional, so many times we talk about it has to be decided by a court.
Okay.
You can't just say it's unconstitutional.
Well,
a judge has to say it's unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional in the sense of the Nevada Constitution, because it explicitly says that if you do a referendum, it's 10%.
Okay.
Okay, and this NRS says it's a referendum. If you want to file or change the county seat, you have to use a referendum, and you have to have 60%. That's contradicting the Constitution.
I see what you're saying. Do you have anything, or you plan to take this to court or anything like that?
Well, we plan to do this alternate route, as Andy was, specifying here. And if that do not work, yes, down the road we can go, and we will.
Understand. Okay. Go ahead.
Actually, it's kind of interesting when you read the article in the newspaper today. They're commenting that once we gather the signatures, the DA will decide whether this is an appropriate technique for us to use. Well, it seems to me the DA ought to be looking at it right now. I met with the DA a week and a half ago and gave her all the documentation. Cles and I were both there.
Okay.
And gave her all the documentation and asked her to look at it now so that anyone signing the petition will have the reasonable expectation that this is going to occur. So I don't know what the clerk and the DA's conversations have been, but that's how we would like to see it happen.
Okay. Now, I've heard a lot about this, and I know initially I wrote a letter supporting what you were doing, but then I heard so much from Commissioner Shinhoffen saying it's not this or it's not that. How do you respond to his concerns?
Well, let's take an example.
Okay.
Right now, the commissioners, by law, have to meet at the county seat once a month.
Yes.
So at the beginning of every month, they have the first meeting there. Then, because all the population is down here, they have a second meeting,
Yes.
and it's held down here.
And it's their choice, though.
That's correct. It's
Okay.
not mandatory.
Right.
According to Commissioner Shinhofen, in writing, he has said that if we were to move the county seat down here, they would still meet in Tonopah. That would not be the case. There's no mandated requirement for them to meet anywhere other than at the county seat. And when we look at counties throughout the United States, they always meet at the county seat. If you live 150 miles or 200 miles from the county seat and you have an issue, you need to attend the county meeting where the seat is. For whatever reason, that hasn't been done here, and it appears that the only reason they do this is because at some time in the past, Tonopah, when it had a large population, was used as the county seat. And Cles, you've talked about that before.
Yes, I have. Well, my thing is on the county seat and looking at us trying to get this changed is, first of all, the county seats was moved basically because of mining, so to speak. When you looked at the population and where the county seats was transferred to, it was because, hey, the mining resources ran out on this particular town, so they moved it to this town because the population grew and people was going to mining. Well, Pahrump is not a mining town. Pahrump is a vibrant community with diversity, okay? And we shouldn't have to depend basically on mining to grow. We should depend on businesses. We should depend on people. We should depend on the resources that we do have, and that is the people. And that's why one of the reasons that I would like to see the county seat here, because, hey, of the community, of the camaraderie that we have together, and the population.
Well, let me ask the big question, because this has come to my mind quite often. If the county seat were moved to Pahrump, couldn't they still meet in Tonopah on the second meeting of the month?
Well, they could. However, what would the real value be? They could attend the meetings here via televised conference, which is done now anyway.
Plus the fact, why wouldn't they meet in Beatty? Why just Tonopah? How come Beatty? How come there are other towns up there? You know, why pick?
Right now they have facilities in Tonopah.
Facilities for what? We have the facilities here.
This is not the only issue.
Okay.
I mean, there are other issues as well. And one of the big issues is that government is hopefully there to serve the population. Well, the population is here in Pahrump. If you use the planning department's figures, there's close to 39,000 people down here in Pahrump. And when you look at the rest of the county, everything north of Pahrump is about 5,000.
Okay.
And if you are going to serve the people, you really need to be here. Now
what about the other thing, and they're talking about moving the records? The vault is there. It would be so costly to move all of that here.
Well, I kind of disagree. When they say costly, they have to give me a rundown of that. But my whole thing is, okay, people ask me, well, why do we want to move the county seat? Well, why do Tonopah want to hold on to it? That's my question. Okay, is that because they're living off the government? Or is that a government town where it shouldn't be? You know, why do they want to hold on to it? That's what I want to know.
So what we're looking at now, you have a petition that you want to have signed, and you're asking people to sign it if what? If they believe that it should be moved, or you want to encourage, if they sign a petition and you get enough signatures, does it move automatically, or is there something else that takes place?
It would still go on the ballot. This is the petition to put it on the ballot, but this is the question as it would be asked.
Okay.
And quite frankly, I'm here this morning to ask you if you agree with the fact that it would be to the benefit of the population to move the county seat down here, if you would be the first signer on the petition that we're going to circulate. And I would say one other thing.
Go ahead.
And that is that when we talk about moving the records, Tonopah has already approached Esmeralda County to move to their county. Now, if that were to take place, you're going to have to move the records no matter what.
Okay.
So as long as you're going to have to do that anyway, why not move the records now and get that part out of the way?
Well, let me say this. If signing the petition would move the county seat, I would not sign the petition. If signing the petition will put it on the ballot so that people can make a decision whether they want to move it, that's why I will sign it. Because I think it should go on the ballot. I think the people should decide. And if they decide no, then it won't move. If they decide yes, and everybody who wants it to move should be encouraging their friends to say yes. Those who don't want it to move, encourage their friends to say no. But everybody should have the opportunity. So yes, I will sign the petition to put it on the ballot.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair, you know, because this is what we're basically looking at, you know. Let the people decide.
Absolutely.
Let the people decide, you know, where their county seat should be.
Okay.
Because it didn't happen that way before. You know, it was designated, basically.
Okay.
I have here, Tom, Mr. Waters, in my hot little hands,
Yes, I see
the
it.
first page of this petition.
And I have a pen.
It needs to be
in my hand.
black ink, yes.
And it is black ink, and my signature goes right here.
Well, first it
I'll
needs
fill
to...
all that out, but I want to sign
Yes,
it.
yes.
There's my signature, and today's date is January 12th.
What?
Yeah.
2016. January 12th, 2016.
All right.
And because you have signed, I too will add my signature.
Okay. So we've already got 2 signatures on there, and I think everything is going good to place it on the ballot. So I'm going to encourage everybody, if you think it should move or not, if you want the people to have a decision, why not place it on the ballot and let the people make that decision when they vote? I think that's encouraging. So at the same time, I want to thank you, Andy, for
Thank you
being
for having
here
us.
again and bringing the petition with you. Cles, I want to
Thank
thank
you.
you for being here. And is there anything else you want to say in the final seconds? You've only got about 10 seconds to say it.
We do have 2 other petitions, one to remove the sales tax 0.5% increase and one to remove the 5-cent gas tax.
And those are things you'll be talking about in the future.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I do, but I'm have to wait till the next segment.
Okay.
Because it's going to
Thank
take
you.
longer.
Thanks for being here, and thank you for being here. And come back for the next session on prostate cancer. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.